Okay, so I'm Liz Simpson from the Wyoming Distance Learning Center, and part of my job is to train teachers, faculty, and trainers how... Oh, can I start over? I think I should be able to start over. Okay. So anyway, here I am, and I teach people how to teach online. And what I've discovered is we need a new thing, a new science of teaching. What we need is, given the tools that we have available and the need for dynamic learning spaces and the disconnect between science, theory, and practice, we need educational engineers. And the reason I thought of that is because if we're educational engineers, they will have to pay us more, right? We're engineers. Okay? So what you do is you take an engineer who uses tools and materials to connect theory and create dynamic spaces for a specific purpose, right? And you take teachers, and really the definition I found for teachers was one who teaches. I just made the rest of that up. And then educational engineer becomes a blend between the two. And this is not my idea, my original idea. It started in 1945, but people were afraid to talk about educational engineers because they were afraid engineers would get upset if we stole their prestige, okay? And then came the need for standardization, the need to increase learning efficiency, and so forth. So we need to create an environment where students have open access to search for and locate and quickly access the elements of learning that address their immediate needs. That's an ecology. We need to build a learning ecology, really, and that takes engineers. So what we have to do is think about what we're starting with. And right now what we're starting with is teachers who are mostly content. And they have some theory, but they have very little design and very little practice experience. And so we bring them to conferences and we teach them all about technology, right? And same thing for higher ed. And then we tell them they need to determine their educational goals, they need to design their learning spaces, they need to use the right tools, they need to use data to access the outcome. And really, that's what an educational engineer does. And teachers get kind of frustrated when you ask them to do all that stuff. It's very hard for them. When you ask them to design a learning environment, this is what they do, right? A science room. I've got a room. Ha-ha, I'm done. Right? I'll get some posters, some chairs, some tables, and there is my learning environment. And we keep asking them, I mean, we talk to them about standardization and structure and stuff, and they try to do it. But really, an educational engineer will create an environment where students have open access to search for, locate, and quickly access elements of learning. It's a place where they bump around and they can learn because the environment has been engineered for learning. Here's the master of the educational engineers, Will Wright. He created the game Spore, Sims, all of that, and he said, if I could just build a toy where kids could kind of trip around across all these interesting principles of life, how it exists and how it might be in the future, like the, and all these principles, wouldn't that be cool? And he did it, and he was not an educator. We give educators very limited tools. I mean, that's what they're used to. And I used to teach teachers, and we give them these tools, a book, a this, a that. And then we tell them to go build a learning environment, right? Go build a space where kids will be turned on to learning. It'll be fabulous. And here's what they do, right? Because they've got their room, okay? And they get their chairs, and they put up colors, and they have their little thing, and that's it. But the kids can't really bump around in there and learn without the teacher. So here's the teacher looking out the window, looking for her kids. Where are they? They don't want to go in there. They don't want to be there. They're out there with their iPads or whatever. And so now we give teachers unlimited tools, right? We give them tons and tons and tons of tools. You know, you've been to the ISTE and all the conferences with them, and they're just overwhelmed. It's like, oh my God, there's so many tools out here. And they're not quite sure what to do about it. And even though we tell them, because we're comfortable with those tools, we walk them through it slowly and carefully, and we give them handouts, and we give them websites where they can come review, and we say, you can do this. We know you can do this. You have to do this for the kids. And they're going, okay, I'll kind of try, but it's very scary, and I've never heard of this. And so you get things. They go back to their classroom, and they're kind of frustrated, and they're like, how do I do that share idea things? And what about the app for this and the app for that? And, you know, my students never listen to me. There was something that I learned at a conference. I know they had kids listening to them. I can't remember what that was. And so what they do is they get back home and they build their house, their classroom, which is on the bottom, and then they start adding things on. Well, let's tweet. I remember tweeting, let's tweet. It doesn't have any systematic purpose for learning whatsoever and may not support the goal that they're trying to achieve either, but we remember tweeting, so let's tweet, okay? So an educational engineer designs learning environments based on the current tools available. They're systematic about building learning spaces. They connect theory, science, and practice, and they understand that the world yields a fertile ground for building learning environments. It is not just between those four walls. And we want to be able to say, with this technology, let's build a learning environment, but it doesn't have to be online. It can be out in the streets with our cell phones. It can be online. It can be in a virtual world somewhere. We know that, and we're purposeful about that. So we need to celebrate that knowledge. To be an educational engineer, preparation is going to take longer. You probably need to be a teacher and an instructional designer. So we're going to squish those two together, value added, have a professional organization, and again, make more money. Okay, so so if you're with me, if you think that is a good idea, tweet or email me or whatever, and we'll keep her going. So thank you.